Well, hey, welcome to episode 5 of Comidas de mi Mom, where I'm cooking from my mom's cookbook. And I realized that I haven't even given you an introduction of why I'm in the possession of said cookbook. But today we're making calabacitas con queso. But what happened was that I was going to Cal State University, Los Angeles, and I was studying to be a dietitian. For some bizarre reason, I got it in my head that somebody told me I'd probably make a good dietitian. I kind of went, yeah, okay, fine. Because I figured I'd be in the sciences somehow and never really thought that have a 30 plus year in logistics. But anyways, so back then we didn't have the Food Network. We had PBS, and we had like the Great Chef series. We had Graham Kerr, the Developing Gourmet. We had Julia Child, Yan Can Cook. We just didn't really have what you have today, where almost everybody is a celebrity chef, and God bless them, because it's tough. Don't ever think, I'll just be a chef here. No, because anyways, I can go on a 12 tangent about that, but I'm not going to go on that. We're going to talk about calabacitas. So, anyways, one of the things that I noticed was on the Great Chefs series that was being presented by PBS was that the majority of the chefs at the time mentioned that their best recipe that they served in their restaurant was some variation of something that their mom used to make them. And I thought to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to have my mom write down all of my favorite recipes, because I wanted to have the recipe, so in case I ever became a famous chef and went to the Culinary Institute of America, the CIA, or whatever, it never happened, of course, but, I figured if I went to officially ever had a restaurant, then I would want to serve comfort foods, and the comfort foods, of course, are the foods that I grew up with and I thought were cool. And so my mom, I gave her a list of my recipes that I wanted to have her write down, and so she did. And that is how I came into possession of the cookbook. So today's recipe, calabacitas con queso. Now, this is one of those recipes that comes in really super handy if you have neighbors that are gardeners and they get more zucchinis than they know what to do with. And I think that's kind of one of the things that push this forward. We had a couple of neighbors that like to grow things, and they would always give my mom the extra produce, and one of the things that we got quite often was zucchinis. And a lot of times it was the zucchini that got forgotten. So when you talk about zucchini, this is a regular zucchini. When you talk about a zucchini, it's got the little knobby on the top. If they get left on, they can get jamungo, and not a lot you can do with them. But Mom figured it out. She made zucchini pancakes. She would make this recipe, calabacitas con queso. She would make stuffed zucchini. Mom came up with a lot of things with zucchini. So anyways, like I said, so this is your standard zucchini. This is what we used to call a crook neck, because it's got a little, but this is also known as a summer squash. And this is what is officially known as a calabacita, which is the Mexican zucchini. So the way you know a squash from a cucumber is that it's got the little stem end, when a cucumber just is smooth. Okay? So she says 4 or 5 calabacitas. Oh, one of the things is, at the late spring, early summer, when you go to the produce markets, which I totally love doing, you'll find farmers that carry this squash that kind of looks like a squished flying saucer. It's called a patty pan squash. And those are really good in this recipe, but they're not really grown commercially. It's very hard to find them, but if you find them at the produce markets, snag them, because they're yummies. So she says half a medium onion chopped. So half a medium onion chopped. She says 1 clove garlic chopped. Well, we can never do just 1 clove of garlic, so I got big old jamungo, 3 cloves of garlic. Half a cup of water. Usually I just eyeball it. Salt and pepper to taste. 2 tomatoes chopped, or a half a can of tomato sauce. Optional, whole kernel corn. Now this corn cob, I have rinsed it off really thoroughly and poured a lot of water into it, stuck it in the microwave for 3 minutes, and that's perfect. And when you cut it up, it just falls off, and you don't have to deal with you know, the little hairy things, because you just hang on to it and cut it off at the bottom, hang on to it, just falls right out. It's a great trick. Believe it or not, I learned something on TikTok. Yeah. So then she says Monterey Jack or mozzarella cheese. So we have mozzarella cheese, Monterey Jack. I also use pepper jack because I think that's really super tasty too. So cut calabacitas into small squares. Should I have said diced? No, because the dice is really super small, but squares, so basically cut it in quarters and cut it in slices because you want a good sized chunk. And I'll be cutting all this up and showing it to you in a little bit. Add everything else except the cheese. Cover and cook over low heat until calabacitas are tender. Add the cheese. Do not mix in, and this is very important, and later you'll see why. Cover and remove from heat. Let stand about 5 or 6 minutes or until the cheese has melted. Now, Mom was always very good at giving you her options. So note, on several occasions, I did not have any tomatoes or small cans of tomato sauce. So I added a small can of V8, and it was very good. Also, I gave this recipe to John, this was one of our neighbors, and he added bacon to his. It was good too, but I usually omit that because of the fat. But hey, everything's better with bacon. Now, I want to tell you one last little thing before I get to chopping and throwing it all into the pot and showing you what it looks like when it's all cooked. I wanted to mention a little something that I encountered when I moved down here to Texas. Now, here in Texas, they actually make a version of this called pollo calabaza. And I had never had this before until I went to like a little Mexican restaurant. And it was like the special of the day. And I thought, I like calabaza. I like pollo. Let's give it a shot. And so sure enough, it was really, really good. So it's basically this exact same recipe without the cheese, but with chicken thrown into it. And one day I was out with my girlfriend and we went to this little restaurant, and this lady had made this little cookbook of her mom's recipes. And in this recipe, she's got pollo and calabaza, chicken zucchini, is what it says. And it's 2 pounds of cut up chicken, 1 pound of zucchini, 1 cup of stewed tomatoes, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of garlic minced, half a teaspoon salt, half a teaspoon pepper, 1/4 chopped onions, 2 tablespoons of shortening. In skillet, brown chicken and shortening, pour off excess shortening, wash and cut the zucchini into 1/2-inch slices, chop the stewed tomatoes, combine chicken, zucchini, tomatoes, onion, season with salt, pepper, garlic, and cumin, cook, cover over low heat over about 40 minutes or until chicken is tender. Now that is really, really super good. So anyways, I'm going to get to chopping, and I'm going to have this all chopped up and thrown in the pot, and the next time you see me, it's going to be bubbling. So, be right back. Alrighty, we're back, and I've got everything chopped up. So, there's a couple of ways you can approach this. It's totally up to you and your cooking style. Sorry, my allergies are just giving me a fit today, but that's okay. But anyways, it's Texas. What are you gonna do? So, you can saute the onions and garlic separate. Mom just threw it all in a pot. So I have got, this is a 2-quart part, and I've got everything chopped up. So I've got my calabacitas. I'm gonna throw it in there. They're kind of escaping. All right. And then I've got my medium onion chopped. So you can see I chopped it really fine. Throw that all in the pot. And then there's my corn from the corn on the cob. Throw that in there. And then I've got my diced tomato. Now, she said 2 diced tomatoes or a little tomato sauce. I decided I'm going to do a little tomato sauce because I like a little more liquid in mine. So what I've got is I've got a can of tomatoes, and because I'm learning that y'all really don't understand a lot of things about cooking, this is what's known as a key. This is a can opener for this kind of can. So a lot of times cans are now coming with a pop top, but if you don't have a pop top and you don't know how to get into a can, this is what you use. And what you do is that you hook onto the side of the can and you press in, and that creates a V. Now, you normally need to do it as well on the other side, which opens up an air stream so that now you no longer have a vacuum and the air can get in so the sauce can pour. Now, she said only use a half a can. I'm just going to use a can because why not? And then last but not least, we got our half a cup of water. And I'm going to get this puppy cooking. So, be back in a bit. Alrighty, so we've been cooking for about 10 minutes or so, and we are at a simmer. We just gave it a good stir. As you can see, the vegetables are getting soft. And, you know, if you're a vegan, you can stop right here because there's nothing in here that's non-vegan. And, you know, even if you want, you can throw in some vegan cheese if you want. But, you know, this is tasty just as is. I haven't added any salt and pepper yet because I want the vegetables cooked down a little bit more before I get to that point. But as you can see, we're beginning to get a little translucent. So we need to cook a little bit more, and then we'll add the cheese, and we'll see you in a bit. Like that spoon? This is like my... Like a cooking spoon, proper cooking spoon. All right, back in a bit. Alrighty, we are exactly where we need to be. So we're going to turn off the heat. Our veggies are nicely cooked. And remember, they're going to cook a few more minutes, so being a little al dente is totally fine. I have 4 ounces of Jack and 4 ounces of Monterey. Now, here's the trick that Mom would do. She would just kind of throw them on top, and it doesn't matter what kind of cheese. She would use Swiss, she'd use cheddar, she would use whatever she happened to have handy. I personally like to use pepper jack, but it's really up to you what makes you happy. But remember, she said don't stir it in, and there's a reason for that. And you'll see in a few minutes when we come on back. So, see you in a few. All right, bye. All right, I'm eliciting the assistance of Mr. Hand as we do the final reveal of Mom's calabacitas con queso. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the cheese to just be kind of melted and goopy. And that's pretty well it. Now, I haven't done any salt and pepper, so I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to pepper it up. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Pink Himalayan, never go wrong. And then I'm just going to gloop in there, get us a little bit, some of that cheese, and there you go. Calabacitas con queso. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. And next week, we are going to be doing Mom's Wohilo chowder. And boy, yes, there is a story to that one. So until next week, don't forget, I love ya, and ta-ta for now.